Yo, let's talk about recognition and respect while I feast. The label's picking up the check. Then I leave. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 15, season 2 of Recognition and Respect. I'm here with my guest today. We're both from Huntington Park, so I'm super excited.
Yep.
To talk about all the HP shit. But let's just kick it off. Let the people know who you are and what you do, and you can be as literal or metaphorical as you want.
Hi, SHNEAKY. Thank you for having me. My name is SilvandGold, or you can just call me Gaby. That's my nickname. Like you said, I'm from HP, and we actually went to the same high school, you and I, which is kind of interesting because we didn't know each other then. We met after high school doing this music shit that we've been doing. So that's what I do. I do music, yeah.
And like, are you sure we never crossed paths in HP? Because I for sure don't remember you, but like, I don't know. I was kind of like all over the place, so.
I feel like I recognize you, but no, we never really talked. We never hung out. I don't think we ever really officially crossed paths. But I knew I recognized you, and sure enough, when I asked you, you went to high school, and I knew it.
That's true. You were like, "Did you go to HP?" And I was like, "Fuck yes."
Yep.
So
yeah.
One of the, and I'm just gonna say this. I'm actually really excited to talk to you today because you're not only are you new to the rap game, quote unquote, but you did drop a dope project that's getting a lot of well-deserved buzz and conversation and attention. And I think it was definitely better than my freshman project that I put out. So and that's not saying much, but I still think, when I bought it and I listened to it, I was like, dude, this is dope for like a first project, So props on that. But like I said,
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
The real reason why I'm pumped is because we are from the same city. We did go to high school. We graduated 2007, right? Same year?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think it's cool that, there's someone else in HP who's doing this music shit at like, a level that is being recognized. And I think that's one of the tightest parts about, watching you perform and your music and all that is knowing that like where it comes from. And I think that's just dope. And I was just curious, let people know what your record's called and where they can get it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, the album was named the Gaby Guerrero LP, which is after my nickname. It was sort of kind of inspired by the Marshall Mathers LP, how he named it after his original name. And that's the idea that me and Destruct kind of went after because he executive produced the whole thing. And so it came out in November of last year. So it's been out for officially about 6 months now. 6 months, actually, last week, it was 6 months that it was out. And that's when the whole album release event went out that you were at, by the way. Thank you for attending and for buying the album. That was really, really, really dope to see people actually buy my stuff, I eventually sold out of the albums and of the posters and of my shirts that I made. So that was a blessing. And but it's been 6 months. And I guess I still don't know the effect of it yet because it's still so recent. It's only been 6 months. So I'm not really sure like the full on effect of it. I just see it from my own like 4 walls and what it means to me. But I hope that it has been impacting for people. That's all I really want, for people to listen to it and to really receive something from it. That's all I really want. But I guess hearing it from you that you liked it, that means a lot to hear from somebody else that they did enjoy it, that they liked it. And so that feels good to hear. It's encouraging, for the upcoming work. I feel more encouraged just to hear that people like the first album,
I feel it. And well, I mean, it has like a flow to it. The production's nice. So Destruct was nice with the production. It's like you're telling your story as well. So there's like that storyteller, like that classic hip hop, and it's like a lot of boom bap. There's like classic hip hop sound, and it's a good introduction. It's a good introduction to like you as an artist and your story and all that. And like for me, that's kind of the shit that I like to do. So I guess, you know, maybe that's why I like it, because it's like I get to know you better through your music. And but I'm curious, like, what has it done for you? Like, I kind of remember, or I can at least imagine, like, what, you know, the first project I put out, and how, you know, my confidence and just like my, you know, my worldview, and the fact that, you know, you took this thing out of your head and now it's like a physical, you know, like, how does that, what did that mean to you, and how did that like change you as a person, you know?
You know what? I actually heard somebody say one time that releasing a full-on album right away is not usually like the smartest idea. That usually singles are the way to go about it when you're just starting out. But I kind of did the opposite. I didn't put out any singles. I put out a 5-song EP first, and then about 3 months later, I put on a full-length album. And I think I had one single in between. So I didn't do it the traditional way. I didn't do a bunch of singles and then, you know, see what was the response with that, and then follow up with the album. I didn't do it that way. I just went head first, you know, with a full length album, 11 songs, just boom. And so I'm not sure. I can't even say, like, I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it, quote unquote. But whatever. I did it, and it was different, and I didn't know what to expect. But I guess it's changed me in the sense that there's no right or wrong way to do it. I guess that's what I've learned, you know. I think what I realize now is that if you just put in your whole heart in it, and if you try to do everything with excellence, then the results will come on their own, you know. Just be excellent, not necessarily be perfect, because nobody's perfect. But if you strive to be excellent, then that's the best thing you can do, you know. And I think other people will see that and they will respect it, and that's what I wanted from this album. And sure enough, I see that people have respected this album, because they see the hard work and they see what I'm saying in it, you know. Well, at least the people that do listen, you know, actually listen to what I'm saying. So that's what I learned as far as like being an artist, and as far as putting out music. Mostly that's what I learned. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this now? Because I feel like I remember hearing that you just kind of started rapping and doing music like not too long ago. It's still recent, right? You're still kind of...
Well, yeah. I was actually, it's interesting. I was talking to One Below last year in December, and he asked me the same thing. I'm like, how long have you been doing this? And I was like, well,
right? I heard
I've only been... The what? The what?
Poetry. Like, he's like, how long have you been writing poetry? And he's like, that's how long you've been doing it, right? Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. He told me that. And so I didn't really understand. I guess he put it into perspective for me, that if you've been writing since you were a kid, then that's how long you've been doing art. And he's like, well, then when somebody asks you how long you've been rapping, you say you've been doing this since you've been writing some poetry. So I said, okay. So I've been officially, like, I guess, writing since I was a kid, right? But to actually record the music and to actually have the guts to record and the guts to actually put it out for other people to listen to, it's been less than 2 years, about a year and a half since I've had the guts. And I keep saying the guts because that's the reason why I wasn't putting out music, because I was shy. I was scared, you know? Yeah. I was scared. I was shy. I didn't think that I would be able to do it, but yeah, it's been about a year and a half. Yeah.
So you never participated in any of the rap battles at HP High that used to happen?
I didn't, but I used to participate in the poetry competitions everywhere. I did it in high school. I did it in college. I did it at the university I went to. I was always participating in poetry competitions that I would always lose, by the way. I've never won one. But I just did it anyway. And so that's the furthest I went to actually putting my stuff out there.
You know what, though? I think that if you're doing like competitive poetry, that's like poetry on a different level than like someone just writing a notebook. So I almost feel like you could definitely count that poetry experience, because it wasn't just like you were keeping a diary, you know? You were like it was some structure to it. You were, you know, seeing other people's poetry. So like there was definitely like part of the grind and the build to where you're at. So I could see that, you know. Do you agree?
Honestly, I didn't write anything like in the past. I didn't write anything with the goal to compete with it, because sometimes these poetry events were more like last minute, like they weren't like, you know, 6 months in advance. So it was just like quick, there's a competition in about 2 weeks, boom boom, submit what you have. So I didn't really write with the intent to really win anything. It was just more like, well, I already have stuff that I write all the time, so why not just enter, you know?
Gotcha.
So that's how that works. But like I said, I always lost. And the winners, the people that won, their poetry was, well, I think it was better because it was more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And my stuff wasn't. I was more like straightforward, so I would lose. But yeah,
when you say emotional versus straightforward, when you say emotional versus straightforward, like, can you expand on that? What do you mean? Like their poetry was more emotional and yours was straightforward? Like,
well, I don't want to bash anybody that I was going to college with, but sometimes their poetry was about like very erotic things, you know, or like traumatic events. Like, oh, this girl slept with her boyfriend's dad or something. And I'm thinking, well, that's why she won. Like, I'm sorry I didn't do that,
it's
but
provocative. It's like it stands out,
exactly.
Right? It's like,
and I'm thinking this bitch won because she did that. Cool. I mean, poetry, sorry I wrote about my, I don't know. Yeah, but
I mean, poetry is like a very sensual, erotic type of, you know, like I always think back to that movie, The Dead Poets Society. It's like, you know, language is to woo women and shit, you know, it's always like that's.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, but still, that's intense. That's like a confession poem or some shit like that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of those, and a lot of those were winners. So I was like, well, fuck my life.
Well, I mean, now your poetry's being listened to on CDs and shit, you know? So who won? Who really won, you know? Who's the real winner?
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't sleep with my boyfriend's dad, but hey, it's all right.
So you've been like on a little circuit. Well, at least pre Rona, you know, when you were pushing the record, you were doing interviews and shows.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to give you like an opportunity to just name drop some of the other podcast interviews you might have had with certain folks, so that if people want to like check out those, you know, like I can't think of who right now, but I know I've seen them. So yeah. But I don't know if you want to just shout anybody out.
Yeah, I was at Breakbeats and Rhymes.
Right.
Breakbeats and Rhymes. So shout out to Rebels to the Grain. They've been doing this for a long time. So I was on that show. That was so cool. And I was on Farside TV. And just recently I had a conversation with Tony Audubon. It's on YouTube. And Social Primates. I was on Social Primate as well. I was on the Rodriguez show. Yeah, Social Primate. They're from the hood. I was on the Rodriguez show. They're from OC. So I was on The Format, which is Destruct's show, which was happening way before the Rona happened.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting interview. Because he executive produced it and then he interviewed me. So it was a different type of conversation. So
because he had like intimate behind the scenes knowledge, right? And can kind of like kind of tease out stuff that other people wouldn't know to ask you about because he was there during the process and shit.
Because he was there. Not just that, but he was giving his input, which is something that a lot of like the interviews haven't really touched on, you know, like he gave his input his input firsthand, and then that interview, and even for me, that was interesting to hear his perspective on it. I was like, I didn't know any of that. Thank you, you know. So that was cool too. Yeah.
So it was almost like you saw another side of him too. So
I actually did see a different side of him during that interview. I even told him, like, after it was over, I was like, is that how you feel? Okay.
You're like, you could have told me not on camera and shit.
No, it was some nice things he was saying that I think he hadn't said directly until that interview, and I was very shocked.
He had it all like bottled up inside. You know?
Yeah, he did, and it was something to get to hear it from him during an interview. I was so like touched, like, thank you. I didn't know you felt that way. Like, thank you, Destruct.
You're so chiquiada about it too. It gets you like you big old smile about it. I could tell like it was really heartwarming and shit.
It's because he's the executive producer and he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist, Sneaky. I don't know. Like some people, a lot of artists are, but I'm not. I'm very like, let's try to do our best, and if it doesn't work out, let's not stress over it. I'm not one to stress over things that I have no control over. I'm not a perfectionist, but he is. He's a perfectionist, and so when he approves, when somebody with that like experience approves of your work and your work ethic, is like, thank you, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was super grateful to hear him say that he liked it, that he approved, and that he was proud.
Well, I mean, yeah,
so
he wouldn't have let you put it out if he wasn't proud of it, right? If he's such a perfectionist. And just so you know,
true.
I am also not a perfectionist. And like, that's why I think a lot of my first records, that's why I can honestly say that they're not as good as your first record, because a lot of it was like, this shit sounds tight, bro. I'm rapping, like, fuck it, put it out. Like, I need the world to hear it, And it was like, you listen back and you're like, you could have waited, sat on it a little bit, sat on the mix, had some other people give some input, but no, I was like, nah, it's coming out, it's dope. I'm rapping now, it's like, it's over, but yeah. You learn, right?
Well, you know what? We learn from our mistakes. Exactly. We learn. That's the only way to really improve, by learning, by looking at the stuff that we did right and wrong, and then just moving on. Another thing is that, like, just having an executive producer, like a full-on executive producer, like that is just gold. Like, it's one thing to have your homies help you out and then yourself, but when you have somebody who is like in charge of like the organization of the songs, what goes first, what goes last, what to remove, what to add, the order of the song, that's a whole different ballgame. And I'm grateful that I had that with this drug,
No, yeah, it takes a lot off of your shoulders. Like it takes a lot. It lets you be more the creative because you're not worried about all the fucking administrative project management shit.
That's exactly it. And so my responsibility was just to write, to be inspired. And if there was something in the song that I didn't like, then I could be like, okay, that makes me uncomfortable. Can we remove that specific, thing? But other than that, yeah, I didn't. He did pretty much all the organization. So yeah.
That sounds nice. Must be nice.
Jelly. It's nice, man. if don't be. If you need an executive producer, he's available. He is there to help anybody that's willing to be helped. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Willing to help, because some people are not willing to really be, helped in that way.
Coached or given advice or criticism. Some people, they don't take it well. So it's like, how are you gonna learn then?
That's exactly it. And he does that. He coaches and he guides and he corrects but he does it all for the purpose of doing something really good. Something well and excellence.
I feel it. So I'm gonna bring it back to HP because I still can't get over this shit. Not only that, but I feel like the videos you've been coming out with and like musical references, like it's very HP heavy. Like it's very visually and sonically. It's like and I'm curious, like why is that so important to you to like put your city on the map and like really make the references and show people Pacific and like why why does that matter to you? I'm curious.
You know what? I studied abroad when I was in school, right? I was in London for about 4 months. And when I came back from London, I was so happy. Like, don't get me wrong, like I loved my experience overseas, but when I came back, Sneaky, I felt like a whole new admiration, a whole new affection for where I was from. And when I was over there, like I said, it was a great experience, but I was missing home. I was missing the food. I was missing my family. I was missing the streets. I was missing going to a liquor store and having them know my name, And so when I came back, I graduated about 6 months later, and I had a whole new perspective on what I wanted with my life and where I was from, and grassroots and culture, because there was no culture over there. I mean, to a certain extent, but there just wasn't so much culture as there is, where we're from. And so it's almost like you don't know you're from the hood until you leave the hood, you know? And so I didn't know that I was from the hood. I was raised all over South. Yeah, I was raised all over Southeast LA, you know? So to me, that was normal. It wasn't like anything. It was just home. But when I left, I realized, oh snap, like I'm from the hood. Like where I'm from, it's just not, I guess, a safe place. It's not a very a place where there's possibilities, you know. It's a food desert, you know. The government in our cities is corrupt, you know what I'm saying? And
to be fair though, just to comment on that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I feel like
no, it's okay.
There's hoods everywhere, you know, there's ghettos everywhere, there's corrupt governments everywhere, and I think that's why people worldwide can relate and get into the same music and talk about the same things, because there are similar experiences of poverty and oppression across the globe. So you have to go almost to like a privileged place to realize, oh, like this place is nice and safe and there's food everywhere and the kids and dogs are running around and no one's tripping. And but yeah, there's hoods everywhere, you know. But I'll continue.
Yeah, no, there is hoods everywhere, but if you don't leave your hood, then you don't understand that where we live, there could be so much improvement that, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how it was for me. Like I hadn't left. I lived there all my life. That when I left, I realized, you know what, like there, where I'm from is full of talent. Like there's a lot of talented people where I'm from. There's a lot of intelligent people where I'm from. Like my ex-classmates own businesses in HP. Like that's amazing. Like what kind, like the work ethic and the intelligence and the drive that that the people from my generation, like wow, I'm so impressed and I'm so amazed and I'm so proud to be where I'm from, that I have to do something for my hood as well. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I have a gift that was given to me by God, you know, why would I just sit on it? You know, especially when I've been wanting to do this for so long. I've been wanting to do it. I have it. And I see everybody else just being so, I don't know, like amazing with their gifts. Like I feel like I had to do something. I needed to. And I finally decided to pursue my dream. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to emphasize where I was from, because I'm proud of where I'm from. And I've never been prouder than I have been recently. You know, after coming back from the UK, like I realize now where I'm from and how great it is, you know, and how greater it could be. So that's why I want to emphasize where I'm from, you know, because it deserves that recognition. It really does.
I mean, I completely agree. And like, you know, I feel the same way. I try to put the HP references whenever I can, you know. Because obviously, like, I'm proud of where I'm from. Were you into hip hop in high school? Like, were you always like a hip hop head, or did you go through like different musical phases? Like, where did you hang out on? Were you Belgrave? Were you Stockton? where did you chill at?
Yes, I was a mad ass hip hop head in high school. I actually went to Rock the Bells my first time my junior year.
Oh shit!
I went to Rock the Bells.
That's tight.
And then I went again. My senior year. So yeah, it was amazing. That was actually my first concert. Rock the Bells at 16 was my first official like concert, and I paid like $150 for VIP. It was cheap back then. Well, for a high school student, that's not
that's
cheap.
Still expensive in 07, 06, yeah. But for a concert, yeah, even now today,
For a VIP concert, 150 is cheap. Like right now, 150 VIP to meet, like, you know, to see like Immortal Technique walking around and shaking your hand, and that was cheap. I mean, it was expensive for a 16-year-old then, but right now,
I also think VIP today is different. Like I remember going to raves back in the day, and VIP was like open bar, and they had like a fucking buffet, and they had like a massage table, and they were giving like free hot chocolate and shit. And now it's like,
oh snap!
Yeah, none of that shit's included anymore. You know, like VIP is not the same as it used to be and shit. So
I've never been anywhere VIP except for Rock the Bells twice, and so that was a long time ago. And the VIP was it was cool because it was AC, you know what I'm saying? And a concert in the middle of summer, AC is nice. So it was dope. And I got like, yeah. But yes, I was. I was very much into hip hop all my life. That's all I've really been into, to be honest. I used to hang out in not stock. I forget the names. The main, not like on the street, Belgrade, but on Stockton Court, where all the umbrellas, not the umbrellas. I'm sorry, not the umbrellas. The tall tables.
Yeah. Stockton. Yeah. Stockton. Yeah.
Stockton Court. I used to hang out in Stockton.
Where they had like the little stone benches and there's like that planter in the middle and shit. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's probably why I didn't see you, because I wasn't really like on that side, you know. I was more on like
okay.
I hung out with all the rockers, the
Belgrave.
punk. Yeah, I was Belgrave. I was counterculture and shit, starting riots, all that, you know.
Do you agree that HP was not like super like I feel like there was cliques, but they weren't that like embedded. Like everybody's still kind of associated with each other. Would you agree with me, or is that just me? Because I remember I used to hang out on Stockton, but I had homies everywhere.
Nah, well,
and it was cool.
I think so. This is gonna have a different perspective because I didn't go to public school until high school.
Oh,
and so when I got there, it wasn't cliques as far as like, oh, we dress and look and listen to the same music. It was more like, oh, I've been going to school with this fool since third grade. Like we're homies, you know, and like you're the new guy. Like I didn't have any like friends that I grew up with there. So that's where I felt cliquey. And because of that, I kind of floated all over. But essentially, like I did feel more like, because I was in a ska band and I worked at the Allen Theater and I promoted and sold tickets. So I hung out with like the punk rockers and the ska kids and the emo kids. I was like more rock. I was like way more rock. So I felt like Belgrave is where all the rockers hung out and shit. So that's why I was over there, I think.
Interesting. Okay. I went to school in HP since I was in elementary school, you know? But
so
I wasn't friends with I went to Gage, yeah. I didn't go to Miles, but I went to Gage. I went to Gage all 3 years, and then I went to high school to HP. But I don't feel like when I think back at my high school years, I didn't feel like there was a lot of cliques as much. I mean, there was, but it wasn't very embedded. I remember like I said, I had friends everywhere, so I was cool with everybody, and they were cool with me. But maybe that's just me, you know?
Yeah, maybe you were just cool, because I feel like I had haters, like me and the football players, like traditional jock shit, like, you know, and I was like a band nerd, kind of. I don't know. I definitely...
Interesting.
High school was not fun for me, like, not really. So it was like I had way more fun outside of high school. I was like a superstar outside of high school, and then I came to high school and people would pick on me. Well, like, we were... I mean, I say superstar. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but I feel like we were in a band, and it was like a pretty well-known band, and we would play big shows, and like so a lot of people knew me from the band, but like not people that I went to school with, you know. So it was like I had this whole second life outside where I was like on stage and crazy hair, and then I'd come to school and people would like pick on me, and I was like a loser. So it was like a trip, you know, to me.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I've never seen it that way.
Yeah, I mean...
I didn't know you in high school, you know?
Yeah, and then, like, I think, I don't know, I was, like, a way different person, so I don't even think I don't know, it's just, it's been a journey, life's been a journey. So
yep, it really has.
What was that journey like from poetry to rapping? Like, did you start freestyling in front of people and joining ciphers? Like, how did you get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna write a song now and I'm gonna actually like put this out and I'm gonna perform? Like, what was that jump like, or how did that journey happen?
Well, I've always loved hip hop, right? Obviously, and so I started to write poetry because I liked it so much. But I never put two and two together. I never figured that I can apply my poems to hip hop. I just didn't think I could do it. Another thing, I think subconsciously, I didn't see anybody like me. So I'm sorry. Sorry, let me fix my camera. So
no,
because
yeah, your
I didn't
Wi-Fi
really
is a little sketch too, but it's like coming in and out. But you're good. Yeah.
Is it cool right now?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool right now?
Yeah, you're good. So you didn't see yourself represented in hip hop, basically, what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
no role models, no idols to look up to and shit.
Well, if we look back at artists that we grew up listening to as far as hip hop, do we like? I mean, I guess if you can sort of like relate to me. Have you ever seen anybody in hip hop like sort of relate to you or look like you, or do you feel like you were represented in it? Because I didn't like at all.
Uh,
Like
it's weird.
high school.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess representation is a weird term, I guess, because it's like there's levels to it, right? Especially when you're talking about music. Um, I didn't really relate to gangster rap. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't a thug. I didn't live that lifestyle. I had gangsters around me and I knew the damage of gang violence, but I used to love gangster rap and like all the LA classic hood hits, but I didn't really relate to that shit. I didn't really feel like that was my voice. I couldn't tell those stories. Those aren't my stories. And
Yeah, and I think I felt the same way with hip hop too. Like even though I didn't relate to it, I thought it was dope. Yeah. And that's what that mattered to me. It was dope. Like the artists that I grew up listening to, I didn't relate to them for shit. But I mean, that wasn't gonna stop me from listening to them because I loved it. Like, are you kidding me? I was in love with the wordplay. I was in love with the beats. I was in love with the whole culture. I didn't relate to it, but that was fine to me. But even though, like, okay, I didn't relate to it, but I still liked it, but I didn't think I could do it because I didn't see myself in it, if that makes any sense.
Nah, I mean, it does make sense, but I guess like the evolution of hip hop kind of opened the doors for more people. It became more accessible. You know what I mean? Like when I started listening to, I see you have like a Mos Def poster back there. So when I started listening to like Black Star and Common, and it was more like love and spiritual and community and like revolutionary politics. Like when I started hearing Immortal Technique, like I found Immortal Technique in high school, and I was like, well, here's a Latino talking about some real shit, like, so I mean, as I grew and hip hop grew, I started seeing myself more and more. But it wasn't really until like Eminem is really the first person who I felt was rapping about shit that I could relate to, because I did live more of like a privileged life, and like, some of my issues with my parents were about grades, and I had ADD and they were trying to put me on medication, so I understood like kids and pills, and I kind of like I had I didn't have I lost my father really young, so me and my mom had like a real weird relationship. So all the Eminem mom drama, I was like cleaning out my closet was my shit. You know what I mean? Like I used to, I'm sorry, mama. Like I used to I used to bump that shit in the dark and whatnot. But
I feel you.
But like so representation look wise or like.
But I'm a female too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
so it's like
it's even less.
Yeah, it's even less. Like I'm a minority among a minority. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? And so even the women that I would listen to in hip hop, they didn't look like me. And like I said, I still loved it. I mean, I loved Little Kim, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
but you don't rap about the shit that Little Kim raps about. Like that's not, you're not telling that story, like.
I thought it was dope, but I didn't relate to her, and I still listen to her. But I didn't. In other words, in my head, and I think it's just in my head, maybe I didn't see somebody like me in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And for that reason, I thought, well, there are women like me who like hip hop and who probably feel the same way, that they don't see anybody like them in it. So I felt like there was a void. You know what I'm saying? And I figured, look, I've always wanted to do this. I don't have anybody that can help me, but I want it. So I'm going to try now more than ever. And so I started to finally like go to shows and hop on open ciphers, right? And whenever there was an open cipher, then I would do what I had written, right? And that's basically how I started to really like get out there and meet and network, and that's how I started, you know what I'm saying? But it's something that I think back now, and I think like I didn't really have anybody around me making music. Like I hear other friends who say that they were recording themselves when they were in high school, and I'm thinking that's dope that you had somebody that could record you at 16, 17. Like where did y'all meet? Because I didn't know anybody that was recording themselves. Like I didn't know anybody that had the microphone
you
and the
should have
computer
kicked it
program.
on
Like,
Belgrave, homie. You would have met me.
probably.
I had the studio
Like,
where all the musicians and the out and the band nerds were at, you know? Like,
that's what I should have done. And you know, and you know what? That I should have. And I didn't have people like that around me. So I was kind of like, you know, I guess I can't record myself. I don't know anybody. So that's when I started to really venture out and meet different people, you know, that had stuff at their home to record. And I was like, this is trippy. Y'all record in your car? Like, damn.
Yeah, in your car? In your people would record themselves in their car. That's
hell yeah. Like,
that's a first.
whatever you have to do to record yourself. And that's when I started to really like, okay, well, can I record at your place? And they're like, yeah, cool. And I would have a beat from YouTube and I started to record like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's so weird. Like, I feel like it's such a, this is like the difference between like masculine and feminine energy, I feel like, because when I didn't see myself, but I felt like there was a space for it, I was like, I'm gonna go do that. You know, it's very like a dude thing to be like, I could do this for myself and let me like insert myself and become center of attention, you know? And I feel like you kind of had like that feminine, that like more, you know, for lack of a better term and not to sound any way, but like the more submissive, passive kind of energy that's like, oh, I'm gonna wait, like, you know, like, you know, like the same shit they say is why women are paid less sometimes. Like they don't want to ask for the raise. Is that on your side?
Well,
wait, did you hear that?
What?
Oh, I don't know. I heard something crazy in the headphones.
I think it was, well, there was an airplane passing by.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
like,
I was like,
for me it was.
I was like, what the fuck is that? No, yeah. So I don't know. I'm just
what is that? Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not much of a submissive. It's more of like safety, right? Because I'm a girl, so I have to be careful whose house I'm going to, you know, whose car am I going to record. So it's not so much submissive, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to be like, well, I'm going to your house to record, but who are you? Who else is going to be there? How far do you live? That's unfortunate. I can't just show up. Are you really
trying to record me, or are you trying to like get frisky with me, or, you know, like,
yeah. Like I have the beat, I have my stuff, I have my verse memorized, but like I said, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? I have to just be safe at that point. So it's just about being safe, to be honest, as simple as that. Something that I think men
don't have to really worry about.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about being safe at somebody's house because you could probably defend yourself for the most part. But you know what I'm saying?
Or so even then, like men don't want to do to me what they want to do to you. You know, like there's a whole different like motive and what like intentions and agendas. It's like, if someone's inviting me over to their house, the worst they want to do is they want me to smoke them out. Like that's how they're trying to take advantage of me, you know, or they want me to pay for whatever. But, you know, like it's definitely different. And I think that highlights just how, like, the fact that I didn't even think about that just shows how the disconnect of understanding and perceptions and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. But that was the issue, I think, initially, trying to record music, you know?
Yeah, I feel it. I mean, take it from someone who's been around it pretty much my whole life. Like, it's also easy to, like, just take it for granted, too, you know? I always had my brother recorded. He had his own studio. He used to record bands. And, you know, when I started, like, trying to do music or anytime I wanted to just try something, like, it was here. So I did it. And, like,
wow.
I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to worry about, you know, taking up people's time. So there wasn't that same level of, like, commitment and importance and, like, seriousness to it. You know what I'm saying? Until you, so you find, like, until you have to go somewhere and pay for studio time and you're on a tight schedule and shit, like, you don't really understand, like, what it is you have, you know? So it's like, and people always tell me, like, oh, if I had all this shit, I would be doing this, I'd be doing that. And I was like, I don't know, would you? Because I've had all this shit, and, you know, some shit sometimes just doesn't happen like that, you know? So it's just...
Yeah. And interesting. Yeah.
So what are your... So I want to just talk about, like, pre-Rona, what were your goals and plans for music? And did you see yourself doing this long term and trying to make a career out of it and, like, you know, having it be your full-time thing? Or was this just like, outlet, representation, growth? Like, what was your music kind of? What was the plan when you decided to do it? Well, how far did you see this going, or what?
Well, I think musically, my goals pre-Rona have been the same now, right? Like the goals are the same. I still have the same goals. The I guess the events because of the pandemic have made me sort of switch up my strategy. But as far as the goals, they're still there. Like the goal, I guess, if I could put it in a nutshell, the goal is to be able to retire my parents early. You know what I'm saying? So if I can do that for my mom and my dad, then I'm good. I'm happy. I've done it all. So that's the goal, and that's not going to change. That was the goal then, and that's the goal now, and it's going to be the goal in the future. But as far as my strategies, like I said, because of all the events that have been going on, like I've had of course, I've had shows canceled, but I've had like major festivals that I was going to be at. One of them being Thought Fest, and then another one was a festival in Florida that I was going to, like, they had paid for my flight, so I was going to go do a show over there, and so that was a bummer that we had to cancel that. So there was a lot of big festivals even outside of the state that I was going to go do, and that was my first time. That was going to be my first time leaving the state, to perform ever, and of course, I was excited for it. I was looking forward, but I'm trying to remain optimistic and understanding that everything happens for a reason, that sometimes things get worse before they get better. And so things have gotten worse, but that's because things are going to get better. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just waiting it out, and I'm working in the meantime, and yeah. And so far, honestly, it's been a blessing. Like, as far as the music side of it, like the actual like art, I haven't compromised my art or the excellence that I have for my art. So that's good. But I guess what's been a struggle is just not being able to meet other people and shake their hand and talk to them, and really connect on a personal level. That's been a struggle. That's been tough. That's the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we creatives, especially like I'm a DJ, like that's literally
Yeah.
my whole life was DJing for the last 2 years, and it's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
DJ with no people, like I've tried to DJ these live streams, and it just like there's the energy is not the same.
It's just different.
It's very different. That's a great goal though, and I've
Thank
actually
you.
never heard anybody say that, so that's tight.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
and
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, the struggle. I mean, definitely like not being able to meet people and be with people, and like that, like that oxytocin rush you get when you get hugs from people who care about you and shit has been definitely like a super bummer. But I mean, as far as like, do you have access to a studio? Are you recording music right now, or do you have music that you had already finished that now you kind of had it backed up and you're putting it out during this time? Or like, what's your content looking like? Like, are you planning live shows and streams? Like, are you jumping on that
Yeah.
train? What's the deal?
I do have a studio at home, thank God. So that's good. I went from not being able to have anybody record me to have my own studio and an engineer. So I have
Talk
that,
about the
thank God.
level
And
up.
yeah, right. Level up. I just recorded yesterday, as a matter of fact. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. So yeah, that's a blessing. You know what? I am already working on my second album. I'm already working on it, and I think it's safe to say that I am about 50 more than 50% done with it.
Word.
So yeah, I'm more than 50% done with it. I have collabs in there. So I didn't have any collabs in my first album except for Destruct, but this one I have collabs. Um so that's good. And so I'm not gonna put that out for a while, like for a while still. So I wasn't planning on releasing that music anytime soon anyway. So I'm not that hasn't been affected yet, or that hasn't been affected. But I am, I guess, using this time of, I guess, isolation to do what I've never really done, and that's to put out singles, like a few singles, like solo singles, but also singles with artists that have been reaching out to me or that I respect and stuff. So that's the first time I've ever like been putting all my effort into singles. So I have, I don't know, like 4 or 5 singles coming up in the next coming months soon. So that's what I've been putting all my energy to.
That's dope. I mean, it's nice and refreshing to hear that you're still keeping it cracking, you know, because I've been having a lot of these conversations, and not just online, but also in private. And a lot of folks, this is like really fucking their creative process up because they don't have home studios, or,
Yeah.
you know, they're not meeting with their team, or they don't have an in-house engineer that can record and mix and put their shit out. So it's definitely messing flow up for some folks, you know. So I'm really happy and excited to hear that your flow has not been disrupted. And I think it's good for the culture, you know. It's good that like HP still doing shit, you know, and that's good. So
Yeah,
congrats.
we're not. Thank you, Sneaks. Oh yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep working, and we're gonna keep representing where we're from for sure. We're gonna keep giving Southeast LA a new name, if any name at all, you know. And I hope to be able to help with that.
Well, I mean, we're definitely on the map now. People know about us now, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people who are responsible for that, for putting Southeast LA on the map. And it's, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, the community that's been able to like build around the region, and a lot of the collaborations and just connection, like food drives, and, you know, we have our own festival now and shit. So it's like we're definitely, before this shit was going on, we were getting it cracking, you know. And from what I know, the Sella Arts Fest is still gonna happen in some capacity. I haven't been in the loop, but I'm supposed to be in a meeting tomorrow about that. So
Oh,
hopefully.
awesome! You should keep us updated. See what's up. You know.
Oh, you already know. You know, I got all my Southeast LA artists on
Yeah.
the mind when I'm doing the moves. But
Yeah, I hope it still happens in some like you said, in some way, shape, or form. You know, it'll be great. It was great last year. It was mad community. It was just nice to
yeah, I
see
ran into
everybody.
so many people, and like it's
Yeah,
funny, so many people who I've known for a long time had never seen me perform. You know, because like hip hop shows are like it's like its own kind of scene, right? Not everybody comes out to
yeah.
hip hop shows or like the dive bars, or, but you know, this is like a community festival, so a lot of folks who don't
Yeah,
actually go to like the
hip hop
more
shows, they go there.
underground rugged shows, they're like, I didn't even know you did that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's right, now you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you working right now, or are you essential? Are you unemployed? What's your, or like, because obviously your creative is great, right? What's
Thank
the
you.
finances looking like?
You know what? Thank you. But I've had to get even more creative because I work for my family's business, but it was closed for about a month and a half. So I just actually last week was when my family started to open it a little bit more. So now it's only open 2 days a week. For those of you that don't know, my mom, she makes like gowns, like prom gowns and wedding gowns and stuff. And her store is located in the city of Downey. But
What's it called?
when
Shout it out.
Doxa Couture in the city of Downey on Firestone and Old River School Road. Yeah. So she just started to open it again, but it was closed down for a while.
Is
And
there a karaoke bar right there? The Powwow? Or am I tripping?
well, it's on the same street, but it's like 3 miles down.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, cool. Because I mean that like the intersection of Firestone and Stewart, Old River School Road. Wait,
Old
what did you
River,
say? Oh, River. Oh, my bad. I was thinking
old
Stewart and Gray. Like I forgot
yeah,
they crossed this. Okay, cool.
yeah. It's Old River and Firestone, which is like where the Big Bob's is at.
Yeah,
The,
the burger spot that was like a
yeah,
car
it's
dealership, and then went back to the burger
yeah,
spot. Yeah.
yeah. Her store is like the other side, more west of there.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's where I was working, but since it closed for a while because of the pandemic, I wasn't working at all, like nothing for like a month and a half, nothing. And so I had to get really creative, sneaky. I had to figure out ways to pay my bills, you know. So I started to, try to reach out to people like, if you want to collab, it'll be nice if you can bless me and I'll bless you. And I made a lot of connections that way, and I was able to get some income to pay my bills. So that was a blessing because I got to meet people and I got to pay some bills.
Killed two birds with one stone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to get creative, but now things are looking up to the business and now it's opening more. So yeah.
Well, damn. I mean, I guess you're thriving right now, and I think
to a certain extent, I wasn't when this happened, to be honest. It was real tough and I was stressed out. But things are starting to look up a little bit more. Yeah, for sure.
Nah, yeah, I didn't leave my couch for like a month when this shit first started. I was like devastated. I didn't know what I was gonna do. It's just recently that I was able to get some employment, so I've been really just like cutting into savings, sold stocks. Like I was trying to sell shirts. Some homies put some cash together for me. Like there was like a lot of people that. I guess I had built up a lot of social capital over the last 5 years, and a lot of people, didn't want to see me fail. Like didn't want.
That was dope.
Didn't want to see me hurt. So a lot of people came out to take care of SHNEAKY. So I'm trying to do my best to keep putting on people and keep, like my whole thing was to build a platform for artists, right? And if we don't have shows, which was the primary way, well then this is the next best thing, So podcast is back, and I'm glad that we had this conversation. It was super dope. I feel like I got to know more about you because every time we would meet, it was like loud music and like, I gotta perform right now. I was like,
here's my USB. I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta lower the volume. Hold on, the shit's clipping. Yeah. So it was, it was nice to like, and it's a trip. We're from the same city, we went to the same school, graduated the same year, and like we're not connected at all, and now it's like we're one of the two people really holding it down for this area who's like actually putting out good music that I like to bump in my car, because there's a lot of people, I don't want to talk any shit, but there's some music that is not as good as other music, from a quality standpoint, a sound, a structure, and then my preferences of like, certain types of rap and content, so it's, you kind of check all those boxes for me as far as like quality production, fucking lyrics that are real and deep and I can relate to, storytelling, like the whole, it's like, that's my shit. Like the what is it? The GGLP, that's my shit, so.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, SHNEAKY. Thank you for listening and for dissecting what I'm saying, and it means a lot. Thank you.
Nah, I think you're doing it. You're doing it for like a lot of the right reasons, and you're not, you're staying true to who you are and where you come from, and hopefully, like you said, I think there is gonna be, a new generation of young girls who get to see you and listen to you and. Might feel like they could do hip hop because now there's someone there who's like put that flag out for them. So you're doing it, girl. So congrats.
Thank you. And thank you so much
for, holding it down. And we've been talking for an hour already. Can you believe that?
It's already 10 o'clock. Yeah.
So if you want to just, shout out, all your links, wherever you want people to follow, your new music, whatever videos, and then I'll make sure to put all that stuff in the description so they can find it. And yeah, this is your outro. Go.
Thank you. Well, I have everything, all the links that you need. If you want to watch the videos, it's the music, the interviews. I have a lot of interviews, which I'm going to put this interview on that same site. My website is SilvandGold.com. SilvandGold, one word. Like I said, all the links are there. I have a video that just came out, Lessons, which was filmed, like you said, in HP on Pacific. And if you notice, if you watch the video, my mom's store makes a cameo there, and my two nephews are in it as well. So that's on YouTube, again, SilvandGold.com. And then I just released a single, my first single in about a year. Like I said, I wasn't doing singles at all, but I actually put out a single like 2 weeks ago. And so with my friend Keith Rice, who plays the guitar, and he's an amazing producer. The name of the single is called Visionary. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. So listen to Visionary. Visionary is a very different song, I think, because I'm being a little bit more honest and mean. But like I said, the production is ridiculous, and I'm glad I got to put it out. And I have more singles coming up. Seriously, stay tuned, because I'm still working. Yeah.
Well,
thank you for reaching out, Sneaky. Thank you for reaching out.
I'm gonna call you out real quick. This is how we're gonna end it. I'm gonna call you out real quick because
okay.
I reached out to you because you said a tweet. You were like, "Damn, how you gonna ask me to interview me and then tell me to remind you?" And then you straight up were like, "Oh, I forgot. Can you remind me next week about the interview?" And I'm just like, "Damn, girl, how are you gonna say that people don't remember and then you don't remember?" It's like I thought it was so funny, like ironic and hilarious. And
that happened to me like a month ago. It was a random girl I've never met, some white girl. I guess she was interviewing people, and she asked me if she could interview me, and I said, "Of course." And she's like, "Okay, can you follow up with me on Monday?" And I said, I can't follow up with you. You want to interview me, you know what I'm saying? So I thought it was her responsibility to follow up with me. So I told her instantly, I'm like, you know what? I won't be able to follow up with you, but if you can follow up with me, that'll be great, you know? So I'm sorry, but you didn't follow up with me, Sneaky. You didn't follow up with me. We had
the date, girl. I shouldn't have to remind you the day before. I have
a calendar. And
was it on there? Was R&R with Sneaky on the calendar?
It was on there. It was.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I thought it was fucking hilarious though. So when I saw that, I was like, "Yo, I'll give you I'll interview you and we'll put it out and we'll get you some content and let the people know."
And you followed up with me, so thank you so much. I'm sorry that I didn't. Wasn't organized.
I'm just giving you a hard time. It was more funny than anything. I was like, "How's this girl gonna tell me to follow up with her?"
Yeah.
It was cool.
But thanks for following up. Thank you.
Yeah. And I had a good time, dude. And hopefully we do it again. If you ever want to come promote new stuff, if you want to tell your boy Destruct to jump on the show, we could talk shit. Anybody you want to recommend anybody to come on, just let them know to reach out. I'm trying to do as many of these as possible while people are home and shit, So
sounds good.
Thank you
so much for thank you, Sneaky, for the in-depth interview. I think it's overdue that me and you talk,
Definitely. Especially, like I said, coming from the same city and all that. It's like
for sure,
it. All right, girl. Have a good night. Everybody tuning in, thank you for being here. I'll be posting up links of all the replay and audio and all that once I get it. And I'll send that to you too, so you could send people the YouTube videos and if they listen to podcasts, the audio will be out on all the networks.
For sure.
And stay tuned. SilvandGold, Sneaky out.
Peace.
Yo, let's talk about recognition and respect while I feast. The label's picking up the check, then I leave to catch my set.